Hey, hello, and welcome to the show with my name. This is episode 19 in the first series, and this show was dreamed up by myself and the lovely. Am I pointing the right way? Theonie.
No.
Oh my God, I do that every time. We dreamed this show up because we have an amazing, huge passion to help people and communities raise funds, get awareness, donors, sponsors for events that they do that create connections around the community, and also for fundraising. I've just got some messages come through here. I'm going, I should not look at my phone, seriously. So if you are a charity, a community fundraiser, a not-for-profit or a service club, we would love to speak to you, because we would love to help you get the word out about the amazing things that you're doing to help people around you. Today,
right. And also if you're a person doing something to help, because, lots of people do community fundraising and other sorts of support. So if you're a person doing something to assist one of these service clubs, charities, not-for-profits, et cetera, or even your next door neighbour who might be going through a hard time, we want to hear from you.
Community fundraiser. That was the whole reason we started this.
Isn't that how we started?
Where's my script? Totally, just don't go off script. So who have we got helping today? Oh, no.
So today we have two amazing people in their own right. So we've got Rachel Ireland, who's the wife of a CFS volunteer. CFS is Country Fire Service, for those of you who aren't here and don't know what that is. She's a mother of four, author and managing partner of Phoenix Mountain Australia. Now, her family suffered loss through the Pinery Fires back in November 2015. And after that, so Rachel did write a book, which we have interviewed her about before, called From Ashes of Eden. And now there's an upcoming event that we're going to discuss today with Rachel and our other guests. I'll just bring Rachel up first of all while we introduce Rob, because I think we need to speak to them both together. How are you going, Rachel? Thanks for joining us.
I'm great. Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. So we are really excited about what it is that you're doing coming up next month. But before we talk about that, I think we need to bring Rob up as well. So Rob Snowdon, we have Rob Snowdon with us, who is the chairman of the CFS Foundation. Now, some of you may know him from, different walks of life. So he's of business and sporting fame. He currently helps elite athletes and corporates navigate through challenges, whether commercial or personal, achieve their goals. He's also the former general manager of SA Power Networks and, of course, the former general manager of both the Sydney Swans and Port Adelaide football clubs. Now, I won't hold that against you. As a Norwood supporter and a Collingwood supporter, I will not hold that against you. So welcome. And Rob's like, Adair's like, what's football? Yawn.
Very poor choice of football clubs. Anyway,
me or you?
Let's keep proving you.
So thank you for joining us, both of you. We are excited to have you here. Now, Rachel, what have you been up to since we last spoke?
Well, besides the normal life stuff, I've just been slowly plodding away at building Phoenix up to something that can step in after a disaster and make it a little bit more organised in recovery, and raising my children and moving house, all the fun stuff.
So sounds boring and like you've been sitting there doing nothing, of course.
Absolutely. You know me, always doing nothing.
That's right. And so, Rob, thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us your time this morning. We know that you jumped through hoops to jump online this morning, so I appreciate everything that you've done. Now, tell us a little bit, for the benefit of those who don't know, what is the CFS Foundation?
Thanks, Theonie, and I appreciate coming on the line with you lovely girls this morning. The CFS Foundation was formed, I think, 10 or 12 years ago. It was formed to provide assistance to volunteer CFS firefighters in the event something goes wrong, as happened to Rachel, losing her home, unfortunately, and David. It raises money, it holds money in a trust account, and it distributes money For things like, unfortunately, for death, and we've lost some volunteers in recent years, injury, and that's probably mental and physical, loss of property, and Rachel's that example again. We can't replace lives. We can't, fix people up. It's not medical. It's just taking the stress off. Here's a little bit of cash. You don't have to jump through hoops. It might just kickstart, the next phase of your recovery, whatever that might be. And that's what we do. There are other elements. We've got supporters and sponsors that might help us fund some kit or some gear for brigades. We're looking at programs at the moment where we can be proactive rather than reactive. It's a board of 9. We are volunteers in our own right. We have a couple of CFS volunteer firefighters on the board. The chief officer's on the board, so we're pretty up and about. And so we raise money, hold money, distribute money, and put our arm around people.
And putting your arm around people, I know, is an important aspect. I know, Rachel, following on from the Pinery Fires, you have first-hand experience of the other side of the CFS Foundation and what they provide and how they help.
Absolutely.
So do you want to share how the impact of the support that you received through the CFS Foundation post-Pinery Fire?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the reasons why I'm passionate about supporting the CFS Foundation and everything that I'm doing in relation to the book and anything that comes of that, for the life of the book, that is. For us, it was, David hadn't been a CFS volunteer for that long, but he really enjoyed doing it and knowing that they had our backs and they were so supportive. And it wasn't just, handing us a check and saying, oh, here you go, you lost your home, how unfortunate. It was Elizabeth Davis that kept calling and checking in on us. She did beautiful things like send us tickets. I remember going to the zoo because she'd sent us tickets to just take a break from that recovery process. And that was one of the most amazing things. And it was probably my biggest inspiration in wanting to create Phoenix into more of a resource that steps in and do that. I've lost sound.
Likewise.
Uh-oh.
Are you there? Can you hear?
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Why do I always get the technical difficulties?
No, it wasn't you. I think it was me. I muted myself so you couldn't hear my background noise. I started talking without unmuting myself, so that was user error.
Oh, you confused the heck out of me.
It's what we call learning out loud.
It is learning out loud. So following on from there, they're the kinds of things people don't think of. So you lose everything in a fire. You've lost your house and everything in there. And it's not just you and your husband. You've got kids as well. And the kids suffer in different ways post-fire, and they've lost everything as well. And just even being able to go to the zoo or something like that isn't something that you can do without, and it's not about asking for a handout. It's about being given a hand up, receiving a hand up.
And it's the thoughtfulness. Like for me, it was taking that time to step away from the recovery and the enormity that we faced and just being a family again. That gave us that opportunity and that reason to say, well, hey, we've got these tickets. Let's just take a day off. Let's just forget the world exists and go be a unit together and invest in each other. And that was one of the most special things post-disaster for me and my family, and that wouldn't have happened without the CFS Foundation. And what I always say to people is that they brought that human factor into the recovery, which was important.
Now, we've got Jenny Shippen watching, and she said she can totally relate to what you're saying. She lost her home in 1979 as well.
Wow.
So, and I didn't know that. Jez is a good friend of ours. I actually didn't know that. So it's, it's one of instances like this, people go through life thinking, oh, it'll never happen to me. But it does. It happens to real people. Yeah, and it does. It happens to real people, normal people, everyday people, fires situations,
and
Mother Nature doesn't discriminate.
No, it doesn't. And, you know, I remember just a few months before Pinery happened, the Samson Flat fires happened. And I remember watching that going, you know, those poor, unfortunate people. I'm on the Adelaide Plains. That's never going to happen here. And lo and behold, you know, a few short months later, I was feeling the very same pain that these guys had already gone through.
I think
so. If you are here with us, welcome. Really appreciate you joining us today. We've got Tracy and Jezza, our favourite Jezza, and some other people. If you would like to encourage other people to join the show live, or if you're here for the replay, welcome. And we would like to use this forum to get the word out as far and wide as to the amazing things that the CFS Foundation do for the local community, and also help them getting raising their profile as much as we possibly can. So do what you got to do. Just let us know if you're here. We'd love to know if you are local, because that's where we focus, even though I'm sitting up in sunny Queensland at the moment.
I'm sitting here by my heater. She's sitting there with sunshine anyway.
Something about state of origin.
New South Wales won, that's all that matters. So
I have no idea what I'm saying, Rob.
Rob, is that a common story that you hear at the CFS Foundation from families who are completely unprepared, and then all of a sudden their world's been turned upside down, fallen apart?
Oh, absolutely. And I guess more intimately for myself in Pinery, I had a lot of friends through the Clare Valley that were impacted, and the lower Gilbert Valley area lost everything. Farming properties, all their cattle, half their sheep, chook pens, the lot, and then there's the anguish. So it's not even about loss of life; it's loss of property, their livelihood, and it's just horrid. And as I said, the CFS Foundation, we can only do so much, but it is that care factor. The other bit, I to David and the 13,000 other volunteers or so out there, they just amaze me. I'm a city bloke predominantly, but just the call to arms when there's a need, and probably there's not bushfires all the time. There are fires, there are things going on, but there's road crashes, and in
That's
the rural
right.
areas, the first responders are CFS volunteers, so they jump off their tractor or whatever it is they're doing, and they'll be first responders to road crashes. And generally, road crashes rurally are at speed, and it's kind of not pretty. So so they're amazing people, and yes, and Rachel's story's replicated. We've had different discussions. Unfortunately, with different people have lost property and their homes, and as I say, we just try to de-stress the situation a bit and do what we can. But amazing people, amazing organisation, and so we encourage to support the volunteers via the CFS Foundation. The CFS is a government organisation, obviously, government funded, and trucks and so forth. But the volunteers put up their time. So if people support the CFS Foundation, we in turn are in a position to support the volunteers. Personally, I hope we never have to write a cheque. I hope we never have to send arrange tickets to the zoo, because that means no one's been impacted. But we know real life, and that's why we exist. So people can donate to the CFS volunteer, I guess, is CFS Foundation, to support the volunteers, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Now, speaking
and it
of,
is tax deductible too. Those donations are tax deductible for everyone that needs to know.
Yes, every $20,000 helps.
There is a link above where you can actually click and go directly to the CFS Foundation page. So, Rob, we're a bit like the Brady Bunch at the moment. If you look up and wave, and if you go like this, you're actually like.
So Tracy has posted this broadcast to her page. So thank you for sharing, Tracy.
Thanks, Tracy.
We appreciate your support. And now coming up on speaking of donations and support, so coming up on the 9th of August, Rachel's going to be speaking at the famous Faces Luncheon about her family's journey, and this event is being held by the Advertiser Foundation at the Hilton Adelaide to raise funds for the CFS Foundation. And now, do you want to tell us a little bit? Oh, it helps if I have it the right way. Do you want to tell us a little about this, Rachel?
Firstly, I love that cover. I had the best artist that did that cover, so it's very striking. I love to support the CFS Foundation, so they asked me to be a part of the event that's coming up in August, and me being me, jumped at the chance because it's a great opportunity for me to support the incredible work that they do. And yeah, I'm going to jump on stage in front of a few people. I'm not going to tell my brain how many Rob just told me there was, but just a few people, and share a little bit about the journey and about how the CFS Foundation changed a lot for my family and the impact that they had that was positive. And it was one of the most positive experiences that we had in the worst time of our life. And while that's going on, we're doing a mega special with the book. We are donating $10 from the sale of every book on that day to the CFS Foundation, because that's just how important it is to us to support these volunteers that go through things like my family did.
Absolutely. $10 off each book. So 500 people in the room. Forget about that number for a minute. We've got some tips that we can help you get over your public speaking fears. Don't worry about that.
I can do TV. It's live speaking that it's like,
Yeah. Just pretend you're talking to one person.
That's
Forget about the other people in the room. So $10 from each book. If you've got 500 people in the room, now you don't need to be a genius to work out that's $5,000 being donated just by everyone buying one of these books. So everybody there on the afternoon, on the day, it's a luncheon, not a dinner.
It's a luncheon.
So that's $5,000 just there by encouraging everybody to buy a book who's at the event on the day. That is amazing.
And don't just buy it, read it and share it on social media, because the more exposure that we can get with this book, the more that we can help the CFS Foundation, be more financial than they are, and, create more of those little events where they can send a family off to the zoo or the movies or something that's just going to detract from the enormity of what they're going through. And bring a little bit of sunshine. Sorry, that's my 5-year-old. He can't
I love it. Bring him in.
You don't have to send him away. We're not like that video of that politician that shushed his kid away.
Yeah. There we go. Let's have a little wave. I know.
Oh, he's like, nah, Mum's on camera. I'm out of here. That's Blake.
That's all it is.
He was one when Pinery happened, so he doesn't really remember a lot. Whereas the other kids do.
The famous Faces Luncheon, we appreciate Rachel speaking. And maybe it's 480 people, Rachel, not 500.
Give or take.
Just take the heat off a bit. We're blessed. Ish Davies, the MD of the Advertiser, and Angela Condis, she's the patron of the Advertiser Foundation, host this luncheon. This is the third year we've had the lunch, and it is to raise funds for the CFS Foundation and the SES support fund as well. Not forget our SES friends who also do a fantastic job in these circumstances. As I said, our objective is to raise about 40 grand if we can. And Rachel, we really appreciate your contribution, and people will hopefully buy lots of the books. But it's the lunch. It's a long lunch because it's back probably my pattern.
So we're going till 9.
Yes. I was going to say, is there wine involved?
Possibly, yes.
Is the Pope Catholic?
Two on the table, but we
might have to have a glass.
Oh, you'll have a couple. Don't worry about that. You'll be charged right up.
I'd suggest you have a couple before you go up to address everybody before you speak, to help calm the nerves. It works every time.
There will be
sure. I'll do it for you.
A glass is a bottle is a glass, by the way.
Oh, that could be interesting. That could be interesting. I might throw in too many jokes.
No, you'd be right.
Or swear word.
So, now, Rob, with the event, so there's a celebrity face on every table is the idea. Is that right?
Not exactly. The famous faces, Frank, actually are the kind of table captains largely. They're our friends corporately and otherwise who buy tables and support us. So we recognise them as famous people. And we step them up to say good day on the stage and thank them and introduce them. So that's their 14 seconds of fame. They're out of there, back to their table with their people. And also we do have some sporting friends that join us and help us, and they'll be around the room. And Angela organises great entertainment, and I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but because it's still kind of a month away, but I think we have the Book of Mormons putting on a piece for us. We have and name escapes me, I apologise, but there was a guy on The Voice. I think he's a cricketer singer. And other people. And interestingly, even as an example, I guess a famous face, Tony Modborough is a 10-year volunteer down the Fleurieu Peninsula. So as a CFS volunteer.
And he used to play football for the Adelaide Crows.
He did. Not Collingwood. Not Collingwood.
Was he number 6?
I think he might have been. Anyway, we're getting off track here. So we've got good support from the sporting people, but we don't place someone of note on tables. The people that buy the tables, in my mind, they're the people of note, and they're famous in our eyes. And so I think we've got about 48 tables, 10, so it is up to that number.
Awesome.
We've had great support over 2 years. This is our 3rd year, and the Advertiser Foundation are absolutely wonderful. And Angela Condis puts on a good show, so everyone will enjoy the event.
So fundraising on the day,
and the point Rachel will be making is that our volunteers are fantastic, and the foundation does its little bit to help.
Awesome. So as far as fundraising goes at the event, obviously $10 of each book sold, each of Rachel's books sold will go to the CFS Foundation. Now, am I right to assume so you'll have an auction, silent auction, live auction perhaps?
No, none of us are silent. No, it's all loud.
My kind of party.
We've got we get donations from different things. So we've got I think about 14 auction items. We do a very loud auction, and that generates a fair bit of the cash. But we've got concert tickets, trips, events of different sorts, jewellery, the normal, I guess you could say, package of major auction items that most charity events put together. And they're the mixed bag there, and people are normally very generous. We've got a wine wall, so that's why I was up in the Clare Valley yesterday, as I said, off camera. Is that what you say on Facebook? Anyway.
Yes, exactly.
So we've got
exactly
a wine
what
wall. We've got the $10 in the envelope bit. So we're not bashful. We'll rip everything we can off our friends.
Is there any people that you want to shout out now, Rob? Like people who are major sponsors or donors, or because we're happy to give them because that's what we hear about, brand championing for them as well.
Well, our three major sponsors are SA Power Networks, and akin to brigades of CFS guys and girls. SA Power Networks have depots all over South Australia. So I referred to car crashes earlier. The second responders are often SA Power Networks lineage in trucks sorting out power pole issues. Electronet, they're the transmission network, the big lattice towers in South Australia, they're major sponsor, and probably the most recent one, Statewide Super, major sponsor of ours. And then we have another tier of sponsors and supporters, and we're always looking for sponsors and supporters of some sort of substance. So they're probably three I mentioned. I'd be doing a disservice if I tried to remember all the others. But
no, that's totally fine, because I think that, you know, with these events, they don't happen without the support of corporate. And, you know, it really is, if every opportunity we can have to give them a plug as well, because, you know, these shows are aimed at people in the local community who are accessing those services, and potentially volunteer firefighters and supporters and donors, you know, so everybody does exactly what they can do, whatever's within their means. So
yes.
yeah, we like to bring it all together as much as we can for everybody.
I think it's wonderful what you're doing. Just the whole theme of what you girls are doing, I think it's really wonderful, supporting you know, not-for-profits and people trying to make a difference and help people in the community. It's excellent. We get support at all levels. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you, and you're welcome. Do you have anything else that you want to share? Any other stories, points of interest?
Oh, look, no, not really. I could go on for a long time. I'm just, you know, really, as I've said before, but respectful and appreciative of our volunteers. I think we undervalue them, frankly.
Absolutely.
They're undervalued. Imagine if we had to pay for that service out in the bush, so to speak. And really, CFS volunteers, they're not all, you know, Hamley Bridge. I think, Rachel's where you're from. They don't all live in the country. The fringe of the city, the bigger depots, the bigger brigades. You know, Athelston and so on. The Adelaide Hills are big brigades up there. So it's not all distant, hundreds and hundreds of miles away. There's a lot of brigades, you know, near to residential Adelaide, and a lot of metro people are volunteers. So they're not all country people. They're not all farmers.
And like I said before, these volunteers are risking their lives to help save another. And it's incredible work that they're doing. It's completely selfless. So they're leaving their own families to go and help fight these fires, put them out, and, you know, in an attempt to say, unfortunately, sometimes they can't save homes. It's just fires are too far advanced. But they do everything that they can.
And just on that, I just want to say, you know, like I'm probably one of the biggest supporters of my husband and what he does, but from a family's perspective, when you have a volunteer in the family, that anxiety when they're going out on a call out, and you know what they're attending, because they'll tell you, I'm going to a road crash, and I just think, oh gosh, the things you must see. The day that my husband told me he was attending the fire at Malala, which was Pinery, just like the overwhelming anxiety. And when he was the one that told me the house was gone, to watch his own home burn and then to continue fighting to save other people's homes, that takes a special kind of stamina to be able to do that. And these volunteers, they do that on the regular, and they're amazing. They're my heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great note to finish on. They are heroes, and they are risking their own lives to save another. And like you said, he continued fighting others knowing that his own was gone. Yeah.
And, you know, like both of us were of the opinion, well, it's gone. There's nothing we can do, so may as well go be proactive somewhere else.
Until reality hits later on, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was about 18 months after that reality hit.
Yeah. So with this book, now I do want to encourage everybody to get their hands on this book. If you're going to be at the event, definitely buy it there at the famous Faces Luncheon on the 9th of August. If you're not going to be there, get your hands on the book. Contact Rachel. The link above to
Phoenix Mountain
is above. Yes, I'll get my words out in a moment. The first chapter to this book is you're in the car. The reader is in the car with you. I was in that car with you, escaping that fire with your family.
And that's why I wrote it the way I did, because I want people to feel like they've experienced what I've experienced. And maybe, just maybe, we might take fire safety prevention and a little bit more seriously and support those people, like those volunteers in the CFS that do go out of their way to support us everyday Aussies in the unfortunate events that happen in our lives. So there is a reason that it was written that way.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be hard for you to sit there and put down and, you know, go, oh my God. And most people cry. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, no, never apologise. You say thank you for understanding. So as Jezza says, the volunteers truly are amazing unsung heroes.
Absolutely.
Now, Rob and Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. We are out of time. Don't go anywhere. We will chat to you again in a moment, but we will drop you out of the show for now. Just thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate you being here with us this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Love you, Rob. Love to see you again, Rachel. All the best for the event.
For sure. Thanks.
Appreciate your great work.
Thank you.
And it's not going to let me take them out. So that is not going to let me take them out. That didn't sound right.
Just because of there they go.
There was a slight delay. Okay. So thank you for joining us. Now, support the CFS Foundation, support the event. If you are a corporate, or even if not, if you've got a group of friends and you can fill a couple of tables, there's a couple of tables left to fill. Get in contact, buy your tickets to the event, buy a copy of Rachel's book. And if you can't be there and you want to support in some other way, contact the CFS Foundation page, because they will accept donations, not just now leading up to the event, but all year round.
And there is a live link above where you just look for the CFS Foundation, and there's a link directly to their page. So you should be able to connect with them on the page there if you look above. And I'm not sure if we got Rachel's link so you can purchase a book. But we'll make sure that the link is there as soon as we finish the broadcast.
Until next week, thank you for joining us.
Yes, for the show with no name, 9:30 a.m. Thursday, Australian Central Standard Time, with Adair Palmer and
Theonie Roussi. I say it because she comes.